one of the things that I have put into practice in my life that has been very beneficial is the idea that whatever it is out there in the world, and it can be as close as the people in my home or as far away as the other side of the planet when I watch the news, but whatever that thing is, if it really triggers me, if it really sort of resounds and it causes a negative reaction in me, it's in me. Whatever I see out there that I am reacting to, that means that there's something about that that's demonstrating a judgment, a belief structure, right? A belief that's within me that led to a judgment, which led me to cut myself off from others. Because as soon as I judge, that means that I'm somehow better, right? Because I know what's right and they obviously don't. And that causes a shattering of the oneness. And that doesn't work for me. Because my happiness is very much based on feeling one, feeling connected with everybody. That at one, they say atonement at one-ment, that's what heals the consciousness. And so every time you notice something that you're reacting to and you're making a case for why it's out there, making a case for why it's not in you, can't possibly be, right? Something that ugly, something that horrible can't be in me. Well, that's why you're reacting to it. Because there's something in you that has now been recognized outside of you. And so given that, I think it's important to immediately stop when you get triggered like that and write it down. And just pull out a pen and a piece of paper, have one with you, and write down how you reacted and why you reacted. And don't get too detail oriented. I find that our happiness works a heck of a lot better when we're general. And as soon as we get really specific, it's a little harder to stay truly, deeply happy, right? Grounded in happiness. And so in general, right? So I get triggered by something that I have a judgment about. Why is one aspect, but I think if we go a little shallower and just say that's what happened, that was my judgment, that's what I now need to heal within myself. I need to forgive, right? To me, those words mean the same thing. To let these things go requires us to recognize that it's in us, and that's why it rang our bell, right? We think of the that which rings the bell is doing it to us, right? That we're a victim of the world we see, but we are not. We are not. The world is a wonderful tool. The physical reality that we experience, specifically the things that trigger us, is a wonderful mirror that shows up for us to tell us that we need to heal something, that we need to pull it out and take a little bit closer look at it, and recognize that this is something that somewhere along the line we digested this and decided to believe in it. Whether it is a feeling of victimhood, a feeling of vulnerability, perhaps, right? Of fallibility, where you're afraid to even try, right? These are things that are within all of us. It's part of our culture, it's part of our experience as a human, but it doesn't have to be. It's just something that is there, and everything that we see in the world that we hate, we see greed, you see vile human behavior. It's really easy to say, well, that's them, and I'm clean and shiny, and yet you're not going to be able to fully heal it until you can see how that is somehow within you a belief, a judgment, and how that is muting your own light, muting your own beauty. Right? The sound of your heart is getting muffled because of this. So you write it down, you notice it, maybe you burn it under a candle. People like rituals like that, is good. But you let it go. But you have to face it and recognize that it's in you. Whatever it is that you hate, it's in you. And if you're going to heal your hate, you have to recognize that everything you hate out there somehow is mirrored within your own consciousness. Otherwise, you wouldn't be reacting to it like this. It's a different way to look at the world. Very, very different from the kind of normal way of seeing things, but it does create a much higher level of healing, a faster healing. There's only so far we can go with the normal model that says that I am in a small island in the ocean getting thrashed by whatever storms happen to come by, and I'm helpless. But I am not a victim of the world I see. I am free, and I'm just right. Right? Accept that. Accept that everything is acceptable. Doesn't mean you have to stay with it, but you must take the big step of radical acceptance of the things that you never used to be able to accept. And you just say, that's what it is. I'm not saying I approve of it. I'm not saying I want more of it. But if I'm going to let go of it, I have to recognize there's a piece of it within me. And then I release it. I let it go. That's how humanity is going to change. We're going to change because we will be able to see what needs to be healed. And right now it is easier than ever to see what needs to be healed, because it's right there in our faces, right on those little screens, showing us what we don't want anymore. And therefore we can put our attention now on what we do want. That's how the new world's going to be built, by looking inside to heal the outside.
As long as you're having fun, well, do everything.
So what do you choose?